You could build a house. You don't need GC experience, you don't need a license, and you don't need any real estate background. You just need to understand the 7-step process and framework. This is the exact strategy that I've used to do over 240 doors to date. And we're on a site right now, Ashley Short Plat, where I'm building $2 million homes using this exact 7-step framework. Make sure you stay till the end. I'm gonna give you a free resource on how you can execute on this exact framework. Let's get started. Before we get into it, I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the 7 steps so you understand the actual framework and what we're gonna dive into. Step 1 is gonna be finding the land. Step 2 is going to be underwriting, which includes the number side, making sure the numbers pencil and the lot is buildable. Step number 3 is actually designing what you want to build. Step number 4 is taking that design plan, submitting it to the city or county and getting those permits approved. Step 5 is going to be your silent partner, which is your lender. Whether you're going to go the personal house game or the investment house game, you got to have a lender on board. Step number 6, the easiest part in my opinion, is hiring a builder and building out this project. And then step number 7 is going to be moving into the home, refinancing or selling it or renting it if you want to build rentals. That's the 7-step process. Let's jump into finding land. Step number 1 is going to be finding that land. It's really important to understand land in general. The very simple way to find land is number 1, you've got the MLS or the market. On the MLS, you got Redfin, Zillow. Those are my 2 favorite that I like to use. You can set up search filters for whatever area you want to build in, and then roughly what price point you want to pay for the land. And now you have yourself some listings that are going to be coming your way. So once something gets listed, you can take a look at it. We'll go to step 2 and how to underwrite it, but that's the one method, which is on the market. The on-market stuff, I always compare it to used cars or used car shopping. When I go to Facebook Marketplace and I go buy a car, if it's a really good deal, there's already 10 people in line that want to buy it. That's the difficult piece about on-market deals. But in some markets, there's plenty of land, plenty of lots, just not enough people ready to execute. So you may have that advantage. In my current market, it's very competitive. And so I have to get really creative or I have to offer above asking. My favorite method, where we do 80% of our deal flow, is the off-market method. I'm talking directly to a property owner. For example, this lot that I'm standing on, we had a contract directly with the property owner. We signed it, we closed on it. It never hit the MLS, never went on Redfin, never went on Zillow. No one even knew that it sold unless you actually search this property and see that I bought it for $312,500 per each lot. The off-market strategy really depends on how much you want to put in, output versus input. So if you want to put in a little bit more effort and grind and find that deal, there's the pretty much free methods. You don't have to spend much money on marketing, or you could spend a little bit more money on marketing and start having property owners call you and say, hey, I have this property, do you want to buy it? Just really depends on your strategy, but off market is one of the best strategies. One easy way to see different properties off market is to go on the local county website. It's called the GIS, the Graphical Information Service. So you can type in your county, whatever county it is. If it's Multnomah County, GIS, and there'll be a map that pops up. You can click on it and it's interactive, and you can go see the different lots that are vacant and see who owns it. And then the next step is to give them a call, reach out to them, and put the deal together. That's step 1 for you. Let's jump to step number 2. If you're looking to get into this new construction game, you love what you're seeing so far, and you want to work one-on-one with me and my team, I'll help you get in this game or scale to do 10 to 20, 30 homes a year and help you with all the tools, resources, plans, performance, the whole 9 yards. Hit that link below, book a call with my team, and see if you qualify for the mentorship, and let's get back to it. Step number 2 is going to be the underwriting or making sure the deal pencils. There's 2 different aspects when it comes to underwriting. The first side you have is the actual lot being buildable. The second side is the financial side of the deal. Making sure a lot is buildable is really 3 main components that you need. You need the sewer, you need the water, and you need power. Those are the 3 things you need from a buildable lot. Then you want to verify the zoning to make sure you can build, whether it's one single home, a duplex, a fourplex, or if you're going to be building multifamily, multiple units. When it comes to the buildable side, if you have sewer, you've got to verify what jurisdiction it is. Meaning, is it public, that there is a sewer line in the street and you have to connect to it? If it's public and you have to connect to the actual public sewer, make sure it's in front of the lot. If it's not in front of the lot and it's further out, it may cost you an arm and a leg to extend the sewer to your property. That could kill the deal. If it's private instead of public, you would have to just get a septic tank. In that case, you want to test the soils and find out how big of a septic tank you have to install on your property based on what you're building. Then you have the water. If it's public and it's in the street, find out where the actual main line is so you can connect to it. Again, if it's further out, you might have to pay to extend it. Sometimes it's worth it depending on the price of the land. Other times it's not worth it if it's maybe $50,000+ and you're already paying a premium. You now have to lower the price of the land in order to make that gap and make it pencil. Then you have power. Just want to make sure, where is my power? How much is it going to cost to bring it to the property? Typically, power is either overhead or underground. A lot of times you might have overhead power, but when you're building a new house, the jurisdiction that has the power in the area wants you to go underground. That's going to cost you a little bit more. So you want to verify power and how you can connect to your future home. And then you have the zoning. You can see the underlying zoning. Even if there's one house on it, sometimes the zoning underneath was changed 5, 10, 15 years ago, where you can do multiple units. You could actually build a duplex, you could build a triplex, or you could build a fourplex. Keep that in mind when it comes to the zoning. You can find that information out on the county or the city website. They're going to break it down specifically for your parcel. So your parcel is going to have a designated zoning. Then you want to read the zoning code and find out, well, what does that parcel mean? You know, if it's zoned R5, oh, it's allowed for 5 units an acre, for example, then now you know I could do X amount on this property. And then we're going to jump to the financial side of underwriting. Now, on the financial aspect of underwriting, remember, step 1 and 2 are some of the most critical pieces. Everything else kind of flows and falls into place. When it comes to the financial side of underwriting, you want to understand the comparables. So step 1, it's a 3-way graph. You've got land, you've got construction, and then you have the finished value, or what is the property worth when it's done. You actually got to work backwards. You start with the finished value. In this area, what are new construction homes selling for? And what kind of new construction homes? Are they duplexes? Are they single family homes? Are they larger homes, smaller homes? In this area specifically, homes are around 3,500 square feet, selling for around 1.5 million. So I started with that number. Great. That's what's selling in this pocket. That's what I want to build. I don't want to do something new. I want to do what's already working. So I take that 1.5 million. Now I know how much my home's going to sell for. Next, you have the construction costs. Across the nation, I've noticed the West Coast is around 150 per square foot. Kind of the mid Texas, those areas are 100 to 130 per square foot. You move a little bit to the southeast, you're around 135 per square foot. You're talking Georgia, South Carolina, some areas of North Carolina, those general areas. And then Florida, same thing, 100 to 130 per square foot is the cost of hard and soft costs. Hard meaning the actual construction, like this framing, foundation, excavation, and then soft cost, permits, architecture fees, engineering fees, design fees, combined 100 to 125. And then you move to the major cities like Chicago and those areas, New Jersey, you're closer to the 170, 175 per square foot. And if you're in any major city on the West Coast, for example, Seattle or Portland or LA, areas like that, it's around that 175 mark. Now, that's for a basic spec home. If you want to see what a basic spec home that I build, you can go to 104 East 30th Street, Vancouver, Washington. Google that, look it up on Redfin or Zillow, and look at the photos. It's a standard, a nice home. It's really nice, but I'm not doing anything crazy custom inside. I don't have floating staircases. I don't have marble everywhere. It's very specific. I'm building a builder grade and adding a little bit nicer finishes. I'm not doing, like the National Home are very cheap. I'm doing a little nicer, but I'm not doing high-end custom homes. So that's where that price per square foot kind of ranges. So on this build here, I'm estimating 170 per square foot. So I have that number. And then what's left is the land. Now you can see what you're going to input for land to make sure it's still a profitable deal. When it comes to return on investment on the entire project, I always shoot for a 25% return. So if the project's going to cost me $1 million, I want to make $250,000, 25%. And so that's where you can input that the sale price, input the construction costs, and now you have the remainder for 25% profit, and that is now what you should be paying for the land, the remaining balance. In this case, it was about $330,000. I ended up locking this deal up for $312,000. So I negotiated, they wanted $350,000. I told them $280,000. We went to $312,500. That point there that's the breakdown of the pro forma. Is you've got land, construction, and sale price. That allows you to understand what you should pay. The rule of thumb that I've noticed is on the sale price, generally speaking, you should pay 20% of the sale price or less. So on a $1.5 million home, 20% of that number is going to be $300K plus or minus. If I do, so 20% of it is $300K. I should be around $300 or less. In this case, I paid $312, so I paid a little bit more, but that's because the numbers made sense, meaning I have to pay a little more for this land, but my construction cost is not that much. The value is there. I can sell the home for a good price. So that's the breakdown financially. The rule of 20 for land or less. I've noticed West Coast around 20%. Sometimes when you get to the Missouri and Florida and those areas, you're closer to like 10% is what you're paying for land based on the values. Same with like Texas. And then you want to make sure you understand construction costs. We have that breakdown from west to east coast of roughly what it is. A good rule of thumb is $150 per square foot. And then that comes down to the ROI or return on investment. You want to be around that 25% return on investment for the project. And let's jump to step number 3. Step number 3 is the plans and design. What you want to do when you're designing a project is don't reinvent the wheel or try something new. Do what's already working in your area. So I studied this specific area. I saw that the 3,000 square foot homes were selling or going pending in about 7 to 14 days. That's a really fast timeline. So I said, I've got to duplicate or do what's working and then add my twist on the design side. And so I looked, okay, the ones that are selling the fastest, what do they have in common? Master's on the first, office on the first, 3-car garage, larger yard, a certain style of design. Great, I'm gonna copy the bedroom, bathroom count. If I can get a 3-car on one of them, I will. If I can get a master on one of them, I will. So this plan has a master on the first, this plan has a 3-car garage. They both have offices on the first floor. And so little things like that I'm thinking of, large patios, nice kitchen cabinets, a lot of cabinets, a big island. All of that I went ahead and did and designed based on the comparables in the area. Comparables are sold comps in the area similar to what I'm looking to build. I would rather just see the data, focus on the data, see what's working, and then duplicate myself. So we can run through these plans. I'll show you guys what they look like. So this is the first building, it's lot number 3. I'm doing more of a farmhouse style, more Italian, lighter colors. We'll throw a 3D rendering, you can kind of imagine what it looks like. This only has a 2-car garage, but we got the master on the first. So we're gonna run through, quickly show you the floor plan and what it looks like. So as you can see, you walk in here, I did a larger entry. So I did 8 feet for the entryway, and then a big thing, 10-foot ceilings. I did 10-foot ceilings to make it feel bigger. Here you got the master, you got a tub, 2 sinks, a large shower, huge walk-in closet, and then you've got the master bedroom with a window to the backyard. Then you got a large great room, dining, and then a wraparound kitchen with the pantry. I'm super excited for you guys to see this finished product. It's gonna look really good. So that's what you have from the first floor, master on the first, only a 2-car, but we've done that. Second floor, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 more bedrooms, and then a open to below or a vaulted ceiling here. Super key. The other thing that I added in is this bedroom has its own bathroom for like guests or a mother-in-law or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that somebody that wanted to stay here has their own restroom. And then as always, we've got decent closet space, walk-in closet here, 2 sinks, shower, plenty of space for the HVAC side as well. And then we did large windows everywhere. So that's super important when it comes to the floor plan. You got to think about it and walk through it. Look at what's selling best, and then the rest of it's foundation and etc. on the plan sets. The plans are getting soaked and wet. We're gonna have to get another plan set. But from the plans and design, this does matter. It's not gonna be a deal killer when it comes to selling a product, but mine's just gonna sell a little bit faster because we're very careful on how we design it. Whatever you're seeing sell on the market, do something similar so that you have a quicker sale. Step number 4 is the permitting side. Super easy. There's not a ton you have to do here. You're gonna work with your architect or drafter. Guys, keep this in mind. You do not need a licensed architect in order to get building permits for a home up to 4 units. All you need is a drafter or somebody that has the experience that understands the game of drawing up plans. The drafter then will send it to a structural engineer who's gonna make sure it's structurally sound and it'll stand still. So remember, architects charge double. Get yourself just a drafter or a designer that knows how to draw up plans that's gotten permits approved. Drafter's gonna draft up these plans. They're gonna work with the structural engineer, get them ready for submittal, and the drafter is gonna coordinate the whole permit process. The only thing you have to do is you've got to do a little bit of adult babysitting and verify that the drafter submitted the plans, the city or the county got the plans and is reviewing it, push the city a little bit to get you the corrections, and then push the drafter to get the corrections back so that you can get the permits done quickly. Here it took us about 2 months to get permits. Again, most people might take 6 to 12 months because they just sit in the passenger seat and they let it happen. You've got to be on top of it. You got to coordinate, find out the dates, and just make sure things are moving along. And then we're going to jump to step number 5. And we're at step number 5. Step number 5 is the financing portion. The financing partner or the lender or the bank is your silent partner. They're bringing most of the cash to the table. From the personal house game, the total project cost, which is the land plus the construction, you would only have to bring about 5% down for the down payment, and then around 2 to 3% for the closing costs to build a personal house. On the investment side, you'd have to bring down approximately 15% of that cost, and around 2 to 3% would be the closing cost. So if you're building a personal house, you got to put 3 times less money down on a build. On a $500,000 build, you'd have to bring down $25K plus around 10 grand in closing costs, let's say 35,000. On an investment build, you'd have to bring down around 80 to 100 grand. You can see the difference in the two. So if you can build a personal house, take advantage of the tax code, which is you can make up to $250,000 of tax-free profit on your primary residence as long as you live there for at least 2 years, or you can make up to $500,000 if you file taxes with your spouse together. That's just a beautiful game. It's a beautiful tax code. It is the tax code 701. It's called Topic 701. Look it up. You can see that it's awesome. It's not just for new construction, but it's really hard to get an existing house and create that equity. It's really easy in this new construction game because you're creating that equity by getting land, building a new product, and making sure you're running those numbers correctly to have that cushion. On the personal house side or the personal game, it's called a construction to perm primary residence. It's your local credit union that carries that. And typically what they're going to look at is your finances. So the fact that you're putting less money down, they're really looking at your job, your W-2, or your business and your credit. So it's really backed by you. You're backing this loan saying, I can afford it, I have a job. The investment side, they're like, hey, bring more money to the table. I want you to put a bigger down payment because if for some reason you fail, the bank will take over, the hard money lender will take over, they'll finish the project and still make a profit. So they want you to have a little bit more skin in the game, and they want to have a licensed contractor on the job. So you just work with a builder, the builder comes in, and then now you're qualified to actually do the loan. I've got many students that have never built a house before. They've got a GC on board and they're building homes right now in different areas like Texas, Indiana, Chicago, Florida, Oregon, Washington, California. So you can absolutely do it as well. Let's jump to step number 6. Step number 6 is the construction process. I can run through the entire construction process start to finish, but the beauty is you're actually relying on a professional in this game. We hire builders across the entire nation. I have over 50 builders in my pocket in many different states and many different counties. Typically what I've seen is they charge me a cost plus contract. What does that mean? However much it's going to cost me to build this plus a fee on top. That fee ranges from 8% to 15%. So if this build specifically here is going to cost me $500,000, the builder here is going to charge me a $50,000 fee. I get to see all the receipts, all the invoices, all the bids ahead of time to make sure that I have a budget built out. And now I know, here's what it's going to cost me, here's what I'm going to pay. And all you're doing now is you're following the schedule, you're following their budget, and you're following their scope of work to make sure they understand what you're trying to build. If you have other comparables and you're like, hey, this is exactly what I want to build, here's my finishes, here's the whole design, they can go based off something like that, duplicate it, build out this budget. Now you know exactly what it's going to cost moving forward. So the construction side of it to me is one of the easiest pieces of the puzzle, and it's the most fun because this can happen in 3 to 6 months. You may have been finding a deal, you may have been in the underwriting process, but now everything's actually coming to life from nothing to something. Then you got step number 7, which is going to be the final stage of the project, which if you're doing the personal house game, you're going to move into the home and it's going to convert automatically to a 30-year mortgage. You have yourself a beautiful home. If you're going to refinance it, maybe rent it, you'll go through the refinance process and rent it. Or option 3, you sell it and make a profit. If you are selling and making a profit, number 1, make sure you're working with a new construction agent that has experience in this game because they understand how new construction works. Number 2, make sure you stage the home. Yes, it might cost you $1,000 to $3,000, but that's going to allow a future buyer to imagine the space most people can't really imagine what is it gonna look like furnished. It might feel smaller than it actually is. When you stage a home, it begins to feel much bigger, much more spacious. That's gonna be a key factor when it comes to this specific game. That's the entire 7-step process, all broken down in detail. Down below, I have a free PDF. It's the entire 7-step process that we just went through in detail for you. It's a 7-page PDF. Hit that link below, grab that free PDF, like, share, subscribe, and throw in the comments what you loved about this video or what else you want to see. I always want to give back to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you next time.